All right. Well, you know, it's the year of returning guests to the show, which is cool for me. I'm excited. You can see I'm forgetting where to look. The camera's over here now. But anyways, we've got my man Mo Hampton back on the show. He's writing Green Lantern Corps. Last time we were here talking about Sons of Star Trek, and now the man's moving on up. So, welcome, Mr. Mo Hampton, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all, man. How you been?
Oh man, busy, but it's a good problem to have when you're busy with the stuff you want to be doing. But yeah, I'm in need of a break, hopefully soon.
Word, word. So, of course, you're writing Green Lantern Corps, but I mean, that's one thing. What else you got going on?
Currently, that's it,
Okay.
honestly. It's my, I'm taking over at issue 10. Me and Jeremy have been co-writing up until this point. And it's just a different beast being on an ongoing. Like it's a steep learning curve, and I think I'm doing okay, but just in terms of like what the deadline schedule looks like, and how flexible you have to be with all the moving parts, it's so much different than, when I did my six issue Cyborg series or Sons of Star Trek at IDW. It's a very different beast, but
Word.
it's fun.
So, speaking of, right? Because I'll admit to the public, although they should know, right? I did a big pull list purge a couple months back, and Green Lantern nor Green Lantern Corps made the cut for me. And really just because I somehow underestimated how busy I would be
Hmm.
with a newborn, despite the fact that I've done this at least two other times before.
Yeah,
And so I was like, you know what? It felt like when I talked to Jeremy, he was basically like, yeah, the all in era is a cool place to jump on, supposedly, but I wouldn't start there. And so I started
hmm,
to get caught up on mainline Green Lantern. And I read the first couple of issues of Green Lantern Corps. And I was like, you know what? I can't decide like between
yeah,
these two, which I want to
yeah,
keep up with. And then the crossover started, and I was like, okay, cool. We'll jump off right here then.
yeah, yeah.
So today, in preparation for our talk, I decided to go ahead and get caught up on Green Lantern Corps. And I'll admit, part of the reason I dropped out of Green Lantern Corps was I was a little salty about the hinting at John Stewart and Hawk Girl's relationship.
Mm,
And I had no real reason to be salty as I was, right?
yeah.
But
When you say salty, what do you mean? Like you didn't want them to be together,
I
or you
didn't.
didn't want them to have a past?
I guess it was fine for them to have a past. I think for me, it was a little bit feeling like whiplash from the Thorn run. And
Yeah,
like there was a lot of time spent kind of building up the power set and establishing that there are two Johns. And the last we see of his John Stewart is like, all right, I'm gonna go find my wife.
right,
And
right.
so while it completely opens the door for this Earth, whatever, John Stewart to, have all the past and everything that, is happening right now, it was still just like, man, I really want to know what was going on that other side too.
Yeah, I hear you.
And so when it was hinted, I was like, okay, this is just like hard stop reminder that this is not the same John Stewart.
Yeah,
And it almost felt like a return to a status quo that we like just left.
hmm,
And so I was like, man. And then I read the rest of the issues and I was like, that was dumb. Like, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read volume one of Green Lantern Corps, but this is me being all invested as if comics are a soap opera when comics are comics, you know?
Mhm.
But off of all of that, what I wanted to ask you going into this, right? Because you're taking over as series writer, the main series writer as of issue 10.
Yeah,
And when I saw that online, I was like, all right, I'll put it back on the list,
hmm,
right? And so I got caught up. But I'm curious to know, like, because you said that writing an ongoing is a pretty different beast for you.
yeah,
With there being the situation of like, okay, there's a co-writer, and now I'm like stepping into the sort of main role.
yeah,
There's, I guess the logical assumption is like there's a sort of mentor mentee relationship How would you describe your relationship with Jeremy or your working relationship?
Yeah, I mean, to be candid, it took us a minute to figure it out.
Mm,
Um, because I think going into it, we kind of both figured it out on the same day, or we both found out on the same day that we were going to be paired together. So neither of us, I think, were prepared for that.
mm,
Um, but I think what's really helpful is we don't live very far from each other. So we just started meeting up in person, like for lunch. And we would get together and just kind of like do a very light outline about what we thought the issue might want to be about.
mm,
Of course, we'd have like a shared document. And then we would just go in there, both write and both like punch each other's pages up until they got to be as good as they could be. But yeah, it's a lot of it, like as I'm sure you noticed when you were reading, like a lot of it is spinning out of the main Green Lantern book.
mm,
So like it as a consumer, I understand why it would be hard to try to choose one or the other because even before the crossover, like they're both very dependent on each other.
right.
So I get that. But yeah, I think what I learned from Jeremy the most was how to navigate the insider baseball type of storytelling or writing at a big two type of thing. Like we definitely have different approaches to storytelling. So it was interesting to see how he and what I can take from that with my process. But a lot of what I took from him is just like how to navigate editors, how to navigate the deadline that you have, the deadline schedule that you have, and essentially how to get what you want when you want to tell a story. Because a lot of times with editors, there's a push and a pull of like you may write something, they may want to go in a different direction, and there really is like yeah, like I said, a push and pull of like as long as you're copacetic about it, you can more or less an editor will more or less let you do what you want to do as long as it's not like, you know, a huge problem, you know.
Right. Now,
So a lot of
good.
that stuff is, I think, is what I took from Jeremy.
Okay. So, like, just on its face, right? I didn't start reading comics till 2019,
Yeah,
but this is kind of like the biggest Green Lantern has been, or
yeah,
the most runway
absolutely.
they've allowed Green Lantern to have since I started reading. We are we're on issue 27 of the main series,
Yep, yep,
um, with issue 30 already in solicits. And then we've got Green Lantern Corps spinning out of that up through at least 10 issues, right? And so there's a lot being put on the Green Lantern office right now.
yeah.
How does it feel to sort of be shepherding that?
Feels incredible. Like again, like going back to what I said before, like it's a tall task, and I definitely feel the pressure.
Mm,
But I do think there's such thing as healthy pressure. Pressure makes diamonds too, right? So it's yeah, honestly it's an honor, and I think not to spoil too much about what's to come, but I think what's cool about what we've been doing is the books have very much been of each other and
mm,
very interconnected. That's gonna change a little bit starting when
okay.
I take over my book, and it's not that like you shouldn't or can't read the Green Lantern book aside with mine, but like we're not going to be interconnecting the stories in the same way that we have up until this point. And we'll probably down the road, knock on wood that like I can keep this book afloat as long as I can. I'm sure we'll do some crossover again in the future where that is the case. But like I do think, coming soon after this event, we do get to kind of like go our separate ways and tell our individual stories. And I think that'll be really good for the franchise as well to have kind of two different voices approaching all these different characters. Yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's helpful to have distinct voices in
yeah,
books in general, especially at a time where, I mean, we talk about Marvel kind of flooding the market, so to speak. DC's got so many books out,
so many.
like ongoings, miniseries, like the all in era really is all in our pockets right now. And but it's cool. But I'm curious as to like how difficult it is to sort of have a book that feels distinct and not feel pressure to like whether it's like live up to someone else's vibe or
Yes,
like
yes,
like oh absolute Batman's going crazy,
yeah,
let's throw an absolute ring in here somewhere, like I
yeah.
don't like how difficult that is when the line is so diverse It's
Yeah.
harder to tell like, what's driving interest,
Yes.
and you still have to stick to your guns like as a creator. Like, no, I've got the whatever makeup to be able to do this.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it on the head. It is hard. I'm dealing with that a little bit right now. I'd say more so when I was working on 10, I was having like a lot of internal back and forth of like, because that's my first solo issue, and it's I don't want to say it's going to make or break the book, but people are going to be paying attention to how different or not it is to how the book has been up until this point, and they're going to be like, is this like Jeremy's book? Is it not like Jeremy's book? And going into it, like I'll just say I had doubts. Like I was having those doubts, like a lot of the things you were just saying about like feeling the pressure of like trying to keep the spirit of the book alive to the point that it had been up until there.
Mm,
Um, and I felt like I had to like look at myself in the mirror and be like, are you trying to write the same way that someone else is writing? Or are
mm,
you trying to tell the best story that you can possibly tell? And I think once I kind of got past that, everything started to flow a lot better. But yeah, there is that pressure, especially because this book has been so connected to the main book.
yeah,
Like he's been working on, like you said, 27 issues at this point. Um, it's hard to separate yourself from that and find your own voice. But I think, I don't want to knock on wood, or I guess I should knock on wood. I think 10 is going to be good, and I feel like it it does well with what came before, but it also sets things in a new path in a way that I'm really proud of.
word. I was watching an interview that you and Dorado did.
Yeah,
I I want to shout out the name of the podcast, but I don't remember it. It was
the
like
Musty Creatives.
Musty Creative.
Yeah,
That's quite a name. Shout out to
yeah,
them. But so in that interview, like, obviously Dorado being a good friend of yours, you guys are
Mhm.
in the milestone initiative together. Um, and obviously he's gotten a little bit of a preview of what's to come, and he just could not contain his excitement. And I was like, man, I really got to read whatever he is talking about.
Yeah,
So up until this point, Green Lantern Corps has been like the everyone else book,
yeah.
right? Like there's no sign of Hal. I don't remember Kyle being in there either.
I was there a
But
little bit. Yeah,
okay. But like pretty much everyone else in the Corps has to share some time in this book. And so, over the first 6 issues at least, it was kind of short, quick story arcs with some
yeah,
cutaways. But we got time with pretty much everyone.
yeah,
And obviously, with it being named Green Lantern Corps, I expect, that to kind of stay the same to a
yeah.
degree. But I'm curious to know, like, what your tone will be, or like, what can you preview for us as far as what the story is going to be
Yeah,
about?
I think thank you for pointing that out because it's that part is going to stay exactly the same,
Okay.
at least for the time being. Because I think that's where we really hit our stride is when we figured out like, yeah, like you said, we the way we approach it is we're doing like A stories and B stories, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes they come together, sometimes they don't. But doing that allows you to service a lot more characters, and in doing so, like, everybody has their favorite Green Lantern. And even with A stories and B stories, we're still not servicing everybody. We're just doing a lot more than if we had, a main story being 15 pages and then one being like 4 or 5.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think we started that with issue 4,
Yeah.
I think. And we really, I think that's where we hit we kind of figured things out on like this is how we balance this book. So it's my goal to keep that the same way.
Mhm.
And of course, every issue or every couple issues, like that B story will change, that A story will change. But I think it's healthy for a book like this with this many characters to um to have these many stories, so everybody can kind of get the shine.
Yeah.
Especially because like you never know with an ongoing. Like the thing about an ongoing is it's an ongoing until it's not, right? So like you can plan these grand arcs with like one character, and then you be like, okay, the next arc's gonna go to the next character. You may not make it to the next arc. So this is the
Yes.
way to kind of give everybody their shine while you can.
Yeah. And it does. I do think you guys hit a stride with issue 4. right? With the first of all right, I always try to do these things spoiler free, but we're at like 8, 9 issues of Green Lantern
Yeah.
core, and I've only read the first six, so y'all catch up too.
Yeah.
But when we get into the arc with Kelly, Teen
Yeah.
Lantern,
Yeah.
right, and just that brief window we get into her past, even though it's not necessarily the way her past is supposed to be, but we just get that emotional like connection with her that, quite frankly, I had never seen. I've not read. I didn't read her debut. You
Yeah.
know, I read her in the Thorn run, and
Hmm.
even then, she was used pretty sparingly.
Yeah.
And so, even just the revelation that Teen Lantern was 12, you know, like
Yes.
that's fun.
Yeah.
But I'm particularly interested in like the relationship that Ellie, John Stewart's construct sister,
Yeah.
is having with the rest of the team. Like I
Yep.
never imagined her being a part of anything ongoing. So
Yeah.
like that's cool to see. John still dealing with the emotional toll that,
Hmm.
you know, losing people close to him is dealt on him.
Yeah.
There's a lot there, plus just fun stuff. Like I like seeing Kilowog just period. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
just come in and say Poozer a couple times, like I'm
Yeah.
pleased, right? And Guy, like I think Guy is fun. Like
Hmm.
just the banter. Like I think that's what I like about the core, where Green Lantern can be very like cosmic and here's this species and that species and we're off to a faraway planet and it's like okay what's grounding this book,
Right.
and it's that the relationships they have with each other,
Exactly.
and it's like it's really fun to watch or to read I should say.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, sorry. If you were finishing your.
I think I was finished. I don't.
Okay. But yeah, I think Jeremy and I both kind of have a. He has more of a background. I have an education in TV writing.
Mhm.
And I think we kind of approach this book like that because essentially the best TV shows are the ones that do it, quote unquote, the right way. It's about a group of people at a place, right? You look
Mhm.
at The Office, you look at there's a medical show right now, or there's Abbott Elementary, right? People,
Yeah.
teachers in school. There's a medical show called St. Denis Medical, medical professionals at the hospital, like people at a place. That's what a TV show is. So I think this is exactly what the core is. It's the Green Lantern Corps presently on Oa, and what does that look like? What are the relationships? And like you said, like that's what's driving the story forward. Like, yeah, there's plot happening too, but it's really the character moments that are pushing things forward. And that's what's really fun. And to go back what you said about Kelly and Ellie,
Mhm.
like both those things like are kind of what the magic of comics is, right? Like Kelly debuted in what was that book that Bendis was writing? Was it Young Justice?
Young Justice, yeah.
Yeah, in Young Justice. And what was really interesting about that is he very sparingly gave her a background.
Mhm.
Like it was like her getting the glove from some guy that looks like a Green Lantern and like I'm gonna leave Bolivia to be a hero. That was really essentially it.
Right.
So we just kind of took that and filled in the blanks a little bit. And I think that's what's really fun is like they gave us some toys to play with and we filled it out. Like a lot of that stuff we just kind of made up, but hopefully we made it work with stuff with her abuelita and then her feeling guilty about leaving home and all that. And then same thing with Ellie, like we're picking that up from Philip Kennedy Johnson's War Journal, like
Hmm.
which is an incredible run. John doing something so morally questionable, like how could you not want to pick that up and figure that out for both John and for Ellie? So I didn't know that was going to be as big of a part of the book as it was when we first started, but I'm so glad because it's been probably my favorite part of working on this book is that relationship stemming off of that decision that John made in a whole other person's book.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It's funny because Jeremy's got the other example I can think of that with his Flash run, like
Hmm.
that first arc retconning Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah.
which is a book to this day I still haven't read, but I got into comics at the height of, nonsense and discourse. And so
Yeah.
it was just like, all I knew is that, Jesus is black, Ronald Reagan's the devil, and Heroes in Crisis is the worst book ever written, apparently.
Oh my goodness.
So, but for him to take that thread and just be like, you know what? No, we're going to redeem Wally real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel forced or anything. It just good writing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. And I guess that's something you only get in comics. Like, yeah, TV shows will like have different writing teams and stuff.
Yeah.
This is a super stupid rabbit hole, but I was watching Family Matters. My wife has been binging Family Matters. So I've been binging Family Matters.
Yeah.
And I did not realize that the Sarah Finney and Vita Spears, the creative forces behind Moesha and the Parkers,
Mhm.
they left Family Matters to start Moesha and the
Oh
Parkers.
wow. I didn't know that either.
I didn't know they were on Family Matters, right? But it's like it's those later seasons where the Stefan Urkel arc and like Steve isn't dressing like super nerdy, like he's looking a little bit cooler. It's
Yeah.
like it's interesting. Like that DNA is there. And I think maybe Jaleel White has a point where he's like, why black people be fronting on me like we had the same people, but nobody likes my show like that.
Mhm.
But the truth is, Jaleel White, you're insufferable. But it's interesting though, like to me, the way comics has that unique sense of collaboration and
Yeah,
picking up a baton and seeing how far you can run with it before it's time to hand it off to the next
exactly.
person.
Exactly.
Speaking of handing off the baton, right? You've got the reins on this book. I'm curious as to because we're talking about the spirit of the book as it stands. And it's hard, I know, because we got this thing going on right now. We don't want to spoil, but I'm curious to know like where things are for this run. Like how is the direction you're taking different from what's come before?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I mean, you don't want to, like you say, you don't want to spoil things, but at the same time, like, and this is out of my powers, the solicits have spoiled a lot already.
Or,
So I can say what's in the solicits. I think I feel comfortable saying that.
okay.
So I won't say how we get to that point, obviously, because that's the stuff that's yet to come out. But starting with issue 10, all of the lantern power batteries are going to be on Oa. So that's going to be everybody's home.
Mm,
And that's something we haven't really seen before. So there's going to be a lot of like, what does that look like for everyone? The Green Lantern Corps, obviously, but everyone else that is now kind of having to live here on this planet under the Green Lantern Corps' thumb. Because at the end of the day, like they're still going to be, whether they want to see it that way or not, you know, a rung above everybody else, right?
mm,
Especially if you're inviting everybody into your home to that capacity. So there's going to be a lot of tension born out of that. Um, that I can't get too much into, but
yeah.
I'd say that's where we're at. We have a new status quo about basically where all the cores are in an unfamiliar situation, and they're going to have to work together, or things are going to be bad for everybody. That's
Interesting.
really all I can say.
So, what's been fun about Green Lantern Corps up to this point is we're still kind of reeling from this whole point where United Planets had taken over
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
And so people already have a bad taste in their mouth about the core. And a lot of it for reasons that even the Green Lanterns don't fully understand. They're like, wait,
Mhm.
like we don't really know the breadth of the destruction that the United Planets caused while we were trying to save the world from them or the galaxy from them.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to see sort of individuals get airing their grievances.
Mhm.
And so the opportunity for more of that is going to be fun.
Yeah, no, it's again going back to what I said earlier, like it's a tall task, but it is so much fun getting to do something a little bit different um in a book like this.
Mm,
Yeah, that's all I really can say. I hope people have as much fun with it as I've had writing it.
right. Now, your first DC project was Cyborg,
Yeah.
and it was a deeply personal project for you. Like, it was kind of a dream project, which is crazy to have for your first project.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, but like you went into it, like you said, knowing it was a mini series, and so it's like this is the story I pitched, this is the story I'm telling, this is the story that lives in this trade paperback and not hardcover. For
Yeah.
some reason, DC, can we get a hard? I'll just get it custom made, I guess. but so you got that, but now this time around, it's an ongoing
hmm
with several characters that are
Yeah.
beloved, to varying degrees by, a much wider audience. How do you balance sort of what you want to see for
hmm
these characters? Maybe you've got a favorite, but you're not writing your favorite all the time, right?
Right.
Like how has that journey been?
It's really fun actually, like as a writer. I think what I really enjoy most about writing is doing character work. So being able to kind of put myself in a character's shoes, figure out what's wrong with them and putting them on a path of fixing that thing. I can do that with any character. And yeah, you're right. I do have my favorites, but like all these characters are deeply flawed and getting to kind of write them where I can help them work through their issues is incredibly fun and also rewarding as a person, I guess, as a human being. Um, I think that answers your question. What was was that your question?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just, with this kind of widening the scope, right? It's an
Yes, yeah, yeah.
ongoing, you're weaving in and out of different, character arcs,
hmm
and you're not always writing like something that is
Yeah.
necessarily personal to you, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the goal though, is finding something within every character that is personal to you.
Mm,
Like I said, at least an education in TV writing. A lot of stuff that they told us in school is, once you break into this industry, more often than not, you're not going to be writing on or not writing. Yeah, you're not going to be writing on the show that you want to be on. Not to say I don't want to be on Green Lantern, but like to put it in a TV perspective, like you might be someone who wants to write on a show like Atlanta, and then they put you on like a medical drama, right?
mm,
So it's about finding within those characters how you can impart yourself onto them, and then that makes it purposeful. And
mm.
then you add it to a book like Green Lantern Corps, which I already love, and you've got all these characters. Like, what can I find within each and every one of them that is a part of me that I can kind of pull on a thread, if that makes sense?
And so on those lines, right, how have maybe you surprised yourself? Like, is there a character that was a more of a challenge for you to see yourself in or to pull from an experience, and how was that for you?
Yeah, I'd say the one I was very excited to do was the John and Ellie thing, right? The one I was very surprised while working on it. I'll give you two. Was the Kelly and Simon story in 4 and 5. Like that relationship, I think for me and Jeremy, like it was surprising how much we gravitated towards it. Like I don't have any kids in my life. Like I like kids, but I have none in my life currently, and I don't have any relationship with them like Simon would have with a Kelly. But like it was incredibly rewarding to write that, just because I think we all have a little bit of Kelly in us, and we have a little bit of Simon in us. So I think there's ways that like when you do two characters like that, it's almost like you're having a conversation with yourself. You're having a conversation with your younger self.
Hmm.
So I was very surprised that I gravitated towards those characters as much as I did, and it was so much fun to kind of get them to work through some of the things that have been plaguing them for so long. Um, and then the other one was in issue 6 with Jess and Joe.
Hmm.
Like I knew I wanted to do something with those two characters. Oh, and even Mogo too, because the Mogo thing was spinning out of the United Planets Lantern thing when they took him over and he crashed into what was that, Thanagar? I knew I wanted to do something with Mogo. Part of what I pitched to get on this book was a Mogo and Joe thing.
Hmm.
So 6 was a little bit paying off of what that initial pitch was. But adding in Jess was something that was a last minute thing where, we kind of put her as almost like the commissioner of this, like, Green Lantern Corps, precinct that we have.
Hmm.
And we hadn't really come back to her since the first couple issues. And even then, she was very, very sparingly used. So it was really fun to kind of revisit some of her prior issues with like agoraphobia and anxiety and see how that can manifest with someone who is kind of actively working through their problems, but how it can still bubble to the surface, right? So she we did the thing where she was hiding behind her work and using that as an excuse to not leave and do anything. And like that was really fun and rewarding to get her to work through that because I'm always an advocate of like, everybody has issues and that's totally fine. And like just because you worked on your issue once doesn't mean that like you're done working on it. It's a constant thing, it's an everyday thing. So that surprised me a little bit just because it wasn't always the plans to have her in that issue in that way. But it was also incredibly rewarding.
for sure. So, yeah, I don't want to keep asking too many questions about Green Lantern
No,
because I'm
go
still
ahead,
start
man.
asking. I'm still start asking spoiler questions. You can't answer them. Um, but you're talking about like adjusting to the sort of rigor and demands of an ongoing series. What maybe was
Yeah.
like the most surprising part of that for you?
Yeah. The the crunch aspect,
Mhm.
which I did not know at all before I did this. Because like I said, going into Cyborg, like 6 issues is not that much. So it's like, yeah, we can do everything as what's the word I want to use? Straightforward as possible.
Mhm.
What I'm learning now on an ongoing is sometimes you have to write things out of order,
Mhm.
and that is an adjustment for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I outline my work, and I'm about at least in bullet point perspective like 5 or 6 issues ahead,
Mhm.
so it's not that difficult. But sometimes like you don't have that much time as well.
Yeah.
So to write out of sequence and not have the longest time to do it is a bit of an adjustment. But I also think at the end of the day, like that's part of what like makes or breaks a comic book writer. Like is being able to do that is
Mhm.
maybe annoying and hard as it is, and we probably shouldn't have to do it that way. Like that's just the way it works. And this is one of the things you got to learn how to do if you want to survive in this industry. Um, So yeah, I may have a few extra gray hairs, but I'm working through it.
So help me out
Yeah,
because I've spoken to people before
yeah,
who like have mentioned the same thing about like sometimes not having a lot of time to do a thing. And so like
yeah,
in my head as a fan, I'm like, well, what do you mean, right? Like, because issue 5 comes after issue 4, and we all knew it was coming.
yeah,
But what is it that kind of, now I guess not to get too inside baseball, but what types of things can happen to make a time crunch greater or smaller?
yeah. In my very limited experience, because it's just this book, it's when your main artist needs a break.
Mhm.
So, like, to get a little insider baseball, uh, I know as a consumer, I used to hate this, and I know people still hate it when like the art changes on a book suddenly, right?
Mhm.
What I think people don't know is that like that is kind of built into how the book is going to be.
Mhm.
Like most main artists, like let's say a book is 40 issues. I can't name currently an artist that's going to do all 40 issues. Maybe Dan Moore, maybe that's it. Dan Moore and that's it.
Yeah.
Because, right, drawing comics is hard, and they don't have that much time to draw. A 20-page comic, they have maybe 3.5 weeks, which so it's about a page a day, and that's difficult.
Yeah.
And when you're doing 6, 7, 8 issues in a row, you need a break. So the best way I can describe it is when they take a break, that's when I'm a little overworked. And
Mhm.
that's why I have to write a lot in succession, but a lot also, or a little bit out of sequence.
Mhm.
So, like, let's say Fernando's going to take a break. This is just all hypotheticals, right? Fernando's going to take a break for a couple weeks. So I have to write a couple issues in quick succession. So normally it's about a month. You get
Mhm.
a book a month is what you're writing. But when the artist takes a break, you might have to do like 2 or 3 in a month because you're now going to give those 3 scripts to 3 different artists or maybe 2 different artists that are going to be drawing at the same time while
Mhm.
Fernando's on his break. And then you'll have to be writing Fernando's issue for when he comes back because he's not taking the full month off. He's getting like 2 weeks, right? So you have to write his issue when he comes back, but that's an out of sequence issue.
Mm.
So you have to jump ahead to write his issue so he can come back and start while they're still doing the two that are going to go before him. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It sounds insane.
It is absolutely insane, but and as stressful as it is kind of built into the way these things work.
Mm. So
Uh,
obviously that's insane. It's challenging.
yeah,
Um, has it been fun to figure out? Like, because it sounds kind of like a puzzle in that, like,
yeah,
you might have a whole jigsaw puzzle, but you found a few pieces that go together. So you're working on
yep,
those, right?
yeah.
And you'll kind of zoom out for the bigger picture later. Like, is that how it feels? How has it been for you?
Yes and no. Like I said, like when this happens, I'm already usually pretty ahead, at least from an outline perspective, anyway. So I know more or less what's going to happen in each issue
Mm,
when I have to do these crunch things. But yeah, there is sometimes like, oh wow, actually I can connect this thing that I wasn't even thinking of prior to this. And it is fun, but it's also very stressful
mhm,
because it's like, I think what people don't realize that are just consumers is a lot of times people will be like, why is this thing not good? Which is a very valid question to ask. But sometimes there's just so many intangibles as to why something's not good, and it's not really indicative of if someone's a good writer or not. You know
mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's at the back of my mind is like, I know I'm a good writer, but sometimes there's not time. So how do I figure out how to stay a good writer in a crunch?
Yeah.
And but again, I think that's part of what writing is how close can you be to good when you're under pressure. So I think I'm excited to be doing this now because it's the first time I've done it.
Mhm.
But 5 years from now, I may have a different answer. Like this is bullshit. Why do I keep having to do this? But I think for now, it's a good test for me, and I think it's going to push me to be a better writer, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you're kind of, I'm thinking now, you're like, it's very feet to the fire right now for
Yeah,
you because as we're filming this, we are tomorrow getting another little prelude issue to this DCKO event.
yeah,
Right? Like you're just taking over a book, and now there's this. I mean, it's all been a part of this big initiative, but now
yeah,
we're getting this big event, like sort of all these characters playing around, doing stuff. Like, how is it dealing with? Okay, I'm writing all these characters, but
yeah,
maybe one of them's going to get used
yeah.
somewhere over here and have to deal with the after effects of that because this isn't ongoing. It's not out of continuity. Like you got to
Exactly.
account for all of it.
Yeah, I mean that's a very good question. The answer is, I mean, yes, it's a lot of it is my responsibility, but a lot of that falls on the editors too,
Mm,
to keep you in check, especially because this is all stuff that's not out yet, right? So like a lot of the stuff for the DCKO stuff that you guys are going to find out about tomorrow, like I've known since like February,
mm,
so like a lot of it is just editors keeping you in the loop of what's going on in the other books, being like, oh, you can't use this character because they're going to be doing this thing in this book. Or they did this thing in this book, so maybe it would be a good idea to allude to it here or even have it pay off in your book. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
mm.
But thankfully, I can shoulder that burden with my editors.
Nice. So, speaking of editors,
Mhm.
this is a complete aside, but Marquise, it was your birthday last week. Happy birthday, dude.
Yes, happy birthday, Marquise. I was on a call with him that day for
Oh yeah,
something I cannot talk about.
nice. Um, okay, so yeah, we've got DCKO. We're in a weird holding pattern. Like this is a weird time to do an interview because I can't.
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot of previews out there. There's a lot that's still under wraps,
yeah,
but it's still an exciting time, right?
yeah,
Like you are taking over this book, and I, for one, am excited just to see your career just like grow. Like you getting new spots. It's almost like watching like a kid in high school and then like he gets drafted to like your favorite college team. It's like, oh snap. I guess in the sense of Green Lantern, it's maybe not my favorite college team. Let's say you got drafted to
yeah,
like another school in the conference,
yeah,
right? Like, and it's like, okay, this is dope. Like, still watching this kid,
yeah.
right? But yeah, I'm really excited for this journey you're on, but I'm also curious as to what else you've got coming, Like, I know this is the main gig right now, but like, where are your aspirations? What are you looking towards?
Oh man, all good questions. I've got a thing I'm working on that I can't talk much about, so
Mm,
that's really all I'll say.
okay.
Um, y'all will find out about it in a couple months. I want to do, I think, broader picture. I want to be somebody like Rodney Barnes,
Mm,
right? He is a prolific television writer and he's a prolific comic book writer. I think I'd like my career to be like that.
mm,
Um, I just love writing. I don't ever want to spend any amount of my time of a day doing something that I don't love. So if I can cultivate a career where I can just write professionally and live off of that,
mm,
I'll be a happy camper. Um, I would love to do some creator owned stuff. I've got some pitches out there, I'll say, at different publishers. I'm in a holding pattern waiting to figure out if they're going to move forward with it or not. Because I think going back to like what a career looks like, I think that's important as a writer, especially just starting out, to get as much work outside of the publisher that you're currently working with,
mm.
because it's like they know your worth, but like they also need to be reminded, that other people can see it too.
Yeah.
Because like without a doubt, the only reason I got this Green Lantern Corps gig is because I did that Star Trek book at IDW.
Mm,
Like, not that like no one was checking for me, but after Cyborg, like I struggled to get more work at DC just because like, priorities. Like I get
yeah.
it. Other people have, people in mind for things. And, a lot of times it's just a timing thing. So you got to remind people who you are and what your worth is. And I just got really lucky that Paul Kaminsky, he's the group editor for Superman, but Green Lantern falls under that. He
Mm,
loves Star Trek and he reads all the comics. And when I reached out to him out of the blue, he was like he connected the dots because
mm,
he loved my Star Trek book. So that's that to me. I already kind of knew that was the way to do things. But like even now, so again, even though I'm on an ongoing, like I got to get more books under my belt just for my growth as a writer. But like I said, just to remind people like what my worth is. I'd say short-term goal for DC is to be on multiple books because there's a lot of writers that are on a couple books. I'd love to be on two or three.
mm.
I know Green Lantern Corps is going to be a testing ground for that. So hopefully I can pass the test so I can get to that point. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
Okay. So it's funny, we're in this weird ground where it's like if I ask you, like, okay, what are some dream projects, right? It's like, I don't know. Some of that might just be like confidential because it's like, oh, maybe that's a pitch that's in the works, so I can't like give that away, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
but but I am curious, like, because you said you want your career to be like Rodney Barnes,
Yeah,
which I associate him with a bunch of creator owned stuff, which is cool. Um, probably guess Philadelphia being chief among those.
yeah,
But he's put out a lot of stuff lately,
yeah,
like
so
original
much.
graphic novels, like just I've been seeing him a lot lately, and I'm not even a horror fan, so I guess that just speaks to how his level of output at this point.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm just gonna ask the question I wasn't gonna ask. What are some of the dream projects that you've got kicking around there?
Uh, I'm gonna play coy and not answer that question.
Okay, okay,
What I
that's
will
fair.
say is that like one of them, in a really roundabout way, is one that I'm working on that I can't talk about.
Nice.
Um, and I hope it leads to more of that down the road.
Mhm.
But I'm a little reluctant to put that out there right now.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, look, man, I won't keep teasing the people. Um, Mo Hampton is writing Green Lantern Corps. That's the book we need to focus on right now. If we want any of these, hypothetical books that may or may not be in the works, the first step is to support what's already out there. So, issue 10 hits stores on November 12th. Nice. November 12th. I like
Well,
that
that's
cover.
good timing. It's the same day or the day after that the first trade comes out too.
Oh, nice,
That's
nice.
great. It's good
So
timing.
yeah, so that you can get caught up. And I'm sure the Starbreaker Supremacy will be a separate trade since it's a
Yes.
crossover
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah,
So
FOC on number 10 is October 20th, I believe.
yes, yes, that is what it says here.
So like now more than ever, like I hate that I got to do this because I never wanted to, but it is important. Like numbers are important. Like when I was on Cyborg, everyone was like, "What are your sales numbers?" And I'm like, I don't want to know because it's just going to get in my head.
Hmm.
Uh, but especially on an ongoing, it is important. Numbers are important, and you know, for a lack of a better way to put this, like our sales are decent on Green Lantern Corps, and my job is to keep them that way.
Yeah,
So like I'm gonna be ringing that bell, being really annoying about pre-orders for the foreseeable future.
yeah, man. It worked. You know what? Actually, let me go in Comic Hub right now. I have to go in. Oh, I did that already. I did order.
Shout out to BJ of the past.
Right. All right, here we go. Issue 10 ordered. And okay, issue 11 is already out for ordering as well.
Yes. Yeah.
These covers are not available to look at. I'm just going to assume the Steven Segovia cover is going to be the best.
Man, I don't
And
even know what the covers are yet, so
or
that's yeah, I can't wait.
so those are out. Cover price is only $3.99. You know, a lot of these publishers like to hit you over the head for certain books. This
That's
is only
true.
$3.99, so you can go ahead and pre-order issues 10 and 11 like I did, or just add it to the list. Only have to order it once, and it just keeps coming to your box.
Very true.
So, any other thing you want to shout out? Where can people find you?
You can find me on every social media platform in existence at Millennial. It's MOELLENNIAL. Yeah, I'm just gonna shout out my own book again, Green Lantern Corps. Uh, if you've been reading, keep reading. If you haven't read, hop on board. It's a great time. Also, I did this on the last podcast that I was on. I'm gonna shout out the Comic Shop series on YouTube right now. They've got one or two more episodes to go for their first season, but completely self funded kind of workplace comedy that takes place in the comic shop. It's really good. I think it's really interesting to just kind of see what a consumer point of view perspective looks like in this kind of comic book, world that we live in with all the movies and TV shows out there. It's cool to see what like a day to day of like a consumer and a fan looks like and how they navigate that. And it's just a really fun show as well. So
Yeah, I've been watching it. It's been really fun. Like I
yeah.
supported the Kickstarter. I'm mad. I put my government name instead of BJ Kicks on the backer names. I don't know why I did that. So my name doesn't show up right on the credits, but
Yeah.
it's really, I don't know. The workplace comedy genre is just fun in general,
Yeah.
but to see it in a comic shop, to see so many indie creators,
Yeah.
get their books placed,
Hmm.
right? I was watching just the most recent episode, and my man, Kyron Silva has a book called, is it Dorothy from Planet Oz? Something from Planet Oz. And I was like, it just got front and center placement. They're just standing around the book. I was like, oh snap,
Hmm.
that's what's up. So anyway, shout out to Cheyenne doing the good work. There is a
Absolutely.
Kickstarter, by the way, for a
Yes.
comic shop comic anthology.
Yeah.
Um, you
They're
know,
getting meta.
right, right. So our homie Stephanie Williams has a story in that anthology. I want to say Joe Illich has a story in that anthology. There's a lot
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there. Comic Shop Anthology is coming. It's on Kickstarter right now. So definitely support that. It's just been it's, I don't know, man. Like, I try not to just always beat the drum of Black America because it's like, it's not all that lives in the world. But it's so fun when we have projects like
Yeah.
this. And it's like we
Definitely.
can kind of show the diversity of the audience and
Exactly.
our interests and, things that we're into. Like black nerd geek culture is not something that gets a spotlight. So the fact that she was able to raise all this money and then put that out there for the world to see,
Yeah.
it's just, I
And
don't know.
super authentic too. Like it feels real.
Right, right. So that's awesome. So shout out to Cheyenne. and the comic shop, and like I said, that anthology on Kickstarter. And shout out to you guys for listening to this interview and for pre-ordering Green Lantern Corps, starting with issue 10 for this new story arc. That's a dope ring. I have the
Wait, let me show you
plasticky
this.
version.
Let me show you this. Hold on. I have a lantern battery as well.
What?
So
Okay.
I can do the oath and sometimes not because I'm not doing it right now.
Word.
But it glows in the dark.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It gets real bright.
That is super. That is awesome. That
Shout
is
out
awesome.
Eddie.
Yo, first of all, shout out to you trying to act like you weren't writing Green Lantern when they had you at the Green Lantern statue unveiling in a Green Lantern
Yo, that
shirt.
was so difficult. Yeah, because that was November of last year, and I had known since September that we were doing the book.
Right.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Wild. Wild. Worst kept secret. But yeah. Well, dude, thanks for reaching out. You're always welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You don't
Yeah,
even have to ask, bro. Just, it's the
show
same
up.
link. Just show up. But yeah, again, shout out to all you guys. Stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.
See you.